Welcome back to Greels, Reels, everybody. Today's guest, honestly, I'm super excited for it. It almost brings everything back full circle to where it all started for me with the Clarenville Caribous. Kenny Mahoney, how you doing, bud?
I'm doing good, man. How about you doing?
Can't complain. I'm back in Ottawa now, back in the city. So I mean, just like I say, getting situated, new apartment, and all that fun stuff.
Yeah, that's for sure. I was in Ottawa once, and it was a layover from Vegas, and
Okay.
had a little incident there. I might have had to spend a couple more nights because I fell asleep on the floor. So Ottawa, that brings back the hangover days from Vegas for me.
Oh, it's unreal.
Can't get away from it.
Oh man, that almost sounds like a whole other podcast story in itself. But
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we'll stay clear of those ones today.
we'll just start, man. Like growing up in town in St. John's for you, and like just that group of guys that you started playing hockey with and whatnot. I mean, what was that like?
Yeah, I was a little bit late starting hockey compared to a lot of my buddies. A lot of my buddies started around age 4 or 5. I didn't start until I was 7. So, I mean, yes, I'm still young, but compared to a lot of my buddies, I was starting off a little bit late. But yeah, so I started off in St. John's with the minor hockey here, the Caps, and I pretty much stayed with them until I went to Double A later on, which I'm sure we'll get to. But yeah, all of my buddies now that I played with for since I was 7, 8 years old, or so my best buddies today. So I mean, we're going almost 20 plus years, but continuing to still play hockey. So we're so fortunate enough in Newfoundland how we do got the senior league here and stuff like that. So I'm pretty grateful for it. That's for sure.
hmm And yeah, and I think one of the first things that I want to talk about within that friend group too is because I mean we've chatted about him before, and I got an interesting Luke Adams story and whatnot. But Luke is one of your good buddies. So like when you're growing up and you're going through the process too, like I mean there were some pretty big moments for Newfoundland hockey that Luke was involved with, right? Like I mean when he won silver at the World Juniors there, like he was the first Newfoundlander in a while to make that roster. So I mean, what was it kind of like to at those times watch him and be like, wow, like this is pretty incredible, and like it's one of your best buddies.
Yeah. So going back to it, me and Luke, our parents actually live across the street from each other, and still do to this day, actually. So when I moved into the neighborhood, I was I think 8 years old. I think I was a bit less actually, maybe been 6 years old. Anyway, so we were just every typical kid. I mean, we played street hockey, we played baseball, we played basketball, we played soccer, and a lot of that time it happened in Luke's backyard. So his backyard was once normal, green grass, plants, trees, and quickly turned into a rundown piece of grass, almost like a mud pile, right? Because we stomped the yard so much. But yeah, so funny enough, we lived across the street from each other, but we never played in the same organizations. Luke actually went to school at a different, or went to school a lot, or somewhere different than he was actually supposed to. So we played against each other, but I mean, at a really young age too, you also knowing that Luke was going to go somewhere with it. I mean, he was the best at all of us. I mean, he had the size, he had everything going for him. He was just a great hockey player. So, yeah, and I mean, all the, the accolades and all like the cool stuff that he did, the whole World Junior thing came. He scored the first goal for the Canadians in the game. So, I mean, and he went on and he pursued. He was in the NHL for I think just under 100 games, and he played, in the American League for so long. And now he's loving it over in Europe, over in Germany now in the Dell League. So, and it's funny enough, I actually just got back from lunch with him and his wife and his little kid actually just in like an hour ago. So it's
Yeah,
funny you brought him up so quick.
yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's awesome. It always seemed because I mean, with me like working with athletes too, like I find, one of the biggest things is like you just take so much pride in like the accomplishments of the people that you grew up with and you see every day, right? Like I know when whether it's guys that I know from like college or like university that go on to do great things in the CFL, or junior guys making strides for the NHL, right? It definitely is it's pretty cool to see, right? So I know like Luke definitely in terms of Newfoundland hockey, it's just like very much in like a special category, right? Where like we don't see a lot of that happen, right?
No, exactly. And, I'm always for anyone that does good. I mean, you get some people out there that kind of try to knock the guy down for doing good and stuff like that. But I got to say, Luke hasn't changed much from when he was a kid, honestly. I mean, we go out to, dinners, or even, if we go down, for dinner down to George Street and go out for a couple of, beer after.
Mm.
Like he takes the time to stop and see his people he's seen in school, say, or, played hockey with when he was 13 years old. And he takes the time to actually stop, have a chat, and see how he's doing and catch up too. So, yeah, no, yeah, I always, give, that people doing good like that, just to give them a little tap, man, and to let them know how good they're doing. And, Newfoundland's a pretty close community. We're big, and we're smallish big in a way. But, we always root for each other, and, it's very always we're always proud of each other, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, no, 100%. I definitely agree. So now, like, I mean, let's kind of get into, your career. And so, after the Caps and whatnot, like, minor hockey's, almost kind of finished for you. And now you go into that Maritime Junior Hockey League there. And, you're in Yarmouth for 3 years. Just, man, let's go back to that. Some stories and good times there.
Yeah, it was probably one of the best times of my life, honestly, looking back at it. But yeah, I finished AAA up here, and well, I guess it was AA back then. It was AA back then when I was playing, and yeah, I was getting scouted throughout the year. I mean, I'd be playing high school hockey, and a scout would be like, "Oh, can I talk to you after the game?" Or I'd be in one of my AA games. So I didn't think too much on it, to be quite honest with you. I was kind of firm set to finish midget, go play junior with my friends here in Newfoundland, and go to school, kind of thing, traditional thing, I guess, to do. But so this guy was calling me. He was pretty consistent on, calling me once a week, being like, what are your thoughts? Like, I'm trying to get you here. The draft was over in the Maritime League, so I never got drafted. And so I said, you know what? What's the worst that's going to happen? I'm either going to go up there and like it, and I'll stay, or I'm going to get up there, they're going to cut me, and I'm going to come home and I'm going to be doing the exact same thing I had planned anyway. So yeah, I went up at the end of August, I think it was. It was pretty intimidating. First time leaving home, like I've been obviously on vacations and stuff like that, but like actually going home with I could be going away for a period of time here. Like, this is not just a weekend trip, you know, Halifax or whatever the case is. It was pretty intimidating. I moved a billet house the first night with 6 other guys from all over Canada. I think there was 2 Newfies at the time, a guy from Winnipeg, a guy from Calgary, and I think a couple of guys from New Brunswick or other parts of the Maritimes. And so we kind of clicked right away, that 6 group of us. And luckily I had a really good camp. My first day was real bad. I didn't it was like a meet and greet, and then like a practice, and then something else. I forget exactly what it was, but I just wasn't feeling the puck right. I was kind of nervous. I didn't know what to do, kind of thing. I actually felt kind of out of a bit. And or the next day we had, I think it was conditioning or whatever that is. We had the beep test and a couple of other things, and I actually won that my first year. And then we had a game later that night, and I actually ended up doing really well. So I think I got a little bit lucky. Or, I obviously worked hard that summer for it, but I ended up making a good name for myself at camp, and luckily walked down there and made the team as a walk-on.
Mm-hmm. And so I guess beforehand, you're kind of going into it. How are you putting yourself in the right mental state to be like, okay, you know what? These guys got draft picks here who, they obviously are going to want to try and make that roster, make that team for them. But just kind of competing with that.
Yeah, no, I mean, when I played, growing up through, I was more of a skill guy, blah, blah, blah. But I mean, when I went up to junior, I learned pretty quick if I was going to make it up there, I was going to have to, do other things. I had to go out and hit. I had to go out in the dirty areas. I had to, I was probably going to play on 3rd or 4th line tops that year. The year I went, I think it was the year before, they actually won everything the year before. So they still had a lot of great guys and a lot of guys coming back, and draft picks, like you said. I mean, it's intimidating. And at first I was like, you know what, whatever, kind of thing, like, oh, well, let's go through the motions here. Whatever happens, happens. But when I got up there, I was like, you know what, I think I can actually do this if I, have a good camp, put my head to it, put, the nose to the grindstone kind of thing. And, yeah, so I went out and I just started hitting. I was only a small guy in junior. I mean, geez, I'm 5'10", 195 pounds now, but back then I was probably I think they had me as 5'9", 5'10", 160. And I think that's with a couple of bricks in my pocket. I think they pushed the scale on me there a little bit, like junior teams usually do. So, but I was going out and just working hard. I knew I had to do different things, and like I said, doing like the penalty kill for a little bit, which I never ever did. I mean, that's new to me. And when I came back to Newfoundland, didn't do it. I don't think I had a shift since. So so I learned pretty quickly. And my first year was a lot of learning. It was a lot of I never got played a lot. I played every game. I just never played a lot during the games. I was getting probably 8 to 10 shifts a game. If I got lucky, someone went down or a couple of fights in the game, I got pushed up to the line. It was tough mentally, and definitely the hardest part about moving away is definitely, the homesickness. I mean, you're missing your family and friends. I mean, you're seeing Snapchat. I don't even think Snapchat was a thing back then, but you're seeing, Facebook posts and Twitter posts of people at parties and birthday parties and, New Year's, because we got home for Christmas, but most times it was only 5 or 6 days, and then we had to go right back up. So I was missing New Year's parties and stuff like that, stuff that you'd like to be home for, especially being 18, 19, 20 years old at the time. So I mean, it was tough that way, but I mean, it was a really world class organization, Yarmouth. I mean, the teammates I met, my billet family was just unbelievable. I mean, they treated me like I was their son almost, like. So, and like the fans and the organization, the people in Yarmouth are just unbelievable. So it made it that much easier to stay there for, the full 3 years I was there.
Yeah, no, I mean, it definitely seems like a really prideful community there. Because I remember too, even when, for people who don't know how I kind of know you, before I really took off for school out in Ottawa, I was like hosting Eastlink show of the Caribous there. And the segment that we did with you that like went on Twitter, it like got picked up like big time by like that Yarmouth hockey like community, and everybody was like real excited to see it again, right? And I mean, I think you were probably, I mean, at that point, almost maybe even close to like 7-8 years removed from the team, right? So it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, Yarmouth was a little town. I even joked to some of my friends, like, 'cause sometimes they don't understand, or they kind of like lowball it a bit. But like they kind of treated you like like an NHL player there. I mean, the organization, you did workouts in the morning. We practiced 2:30 every day, Monday to Friday, unless games were throughout. But that obviously changes. But like you'd go to dinner, or you'd go out to the mall, or you'd go to wherever, and there'd be people noticing you, or a little kid that wanted a picture or an autograph, just walking to the mall, stuff that hometown Newfie probably wasn't expecting to do it in his lifetime, right? But so it's kind of surreal in a way. But I mean, it just shows you, the compassion that whole town had, about the team. And I had one guy there. It was my second year. My skate broke, and one of the shareholders heard about it, and I think the team was going to pay half for it anyway. But I think the guy showed up and he was like, "Come on, get in the truck. We're going over to Cleve's Source of Sports there and getting you brand new skates." And I was kind of shocked, and I was like, "No, don't do that." And I was telling my parents, and my parents were like, "No, don't. We'll pay half or whatever the case, And but this guy, he was just he was so nice, and I ended up finding out his daughter and son actually moved to Newfoundland from Yarmouth to go to Munn, and he was like, "It's almost." Yeah, so it was almost. He said it was almost that connection. It's like, I'm actually buying my son or daughter this because like you're coming all the way from Newfoundland, where they're to my hometown, and they're all at your hometown. So that was like the connection he kind of brought up to us. So I was really grateful to him, and I actually kept in touch with him for a couple of years after junior. But I mean, the way time goes, and you kind of just lose contact with some people. But I still, keep in contact with a lot of the guys on the team, even if it's a text or a tweet or a tag on Facebook, a memory or something like that. And my billet parents, I talk to them probably 10 to 15 times a year, and the coach will you'll see something about the coach on Twitter and stuff, and we'll reach out. And it's just a really cool and neat like tight knit town up there, right in Yarmouth. Is awesome.
No, that's an awesome story. Do you have any more stories that maybe pertain to like the fan base there? Maybe some unique encounters out in the town?
Not really. I mean, for the most part, it was just like a hi and hello. But we did a lot of stuff in the community there. I remember we had to go to a lot of schools. Like once a week, we were designated a school. So I mean, if it was 5 guys on Monday to go to the elementary school, and then next Monday it was 5 guys to go to the primary school there. So we did a lot of stuff like that. A lot of a little bit of charity work and stuff like that. But I mean, for the most part, I mean, like a lot of like holding babies and stuff, you know, like I was only like 18 or 19, and like if you after the game or like in the lobby and be like, oh, can you get a picture of my son? Or and I'm like holding this little 5-month-old baby in my arms and stuff. So I mean, like stuff like that is pretty cool. And like I said earlier, it's just stuff you didn't really think that would ever, you know, it would ever happen to you, you know, throughout a hockey career or whatever. But no, all I got to say about Yarmouth and the fans up there, they're unbelievable. I mean, if you could ask any person, even the away team that come play there, like the place is jam packed every night. I think it's a weird number up there that sold out Burn. I think it's like 1577 or something, like a weird number. And it was pretty much sold out every year in my 20-year-old year. And I think, you know, they still got the numbers today because I'm sure I think they won a couple of years ago also. So, I mean, and they're a bright fan base. They know, you know, good hockey, and they know if you're trying, and they know, you know, a lot of things, and they'll let you know, you'll go to Tim Hortons and get a, you know, tea or a juice or whatever before practice. And, you know, you get them older people that are having their little morning meetings, and they'll let you know, going out of that place where you didn't do too good on a Saturday, you know, or, you know, kind of shit the bed in a way. So, I mean, it's unbelievable. It's a world-class organization here. And I know it's only junior A, and, you know, you deal with a lot of people that play universities and, you know, major junior and stuff. So I'm sure, you know, they got their own stories too. But for junior A, I don't think you can beat it. And that's the truth.
No, I gotta say, like, in all honesty, when like talking to, you know, a bunch of different people and stuff, and even that like Maritime Junior League, like there's a lot of guys who you know, are having successful careers in the queue because, you know, they ended up having like a year in one of those Maritime League towns, right? Like, and you know, going off to play like you know, some solid like university hockey or whatever it may be, right? So I mean, that's a huge, right? Like when you kind of think, and everybody's like main aspect is, you know, NHL and whatnot. But I mean, if you kind of get in there and you get good and like, you know, it brings you to like a solid university program, or even gives you another shot at the Q that, you know, later translates in the university. I mean, you know, guys are getting their education paid for at that point, right? Which is obviously big.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, sometimes that's the main goal. Like you said, I mean, yes, NHL is there. It's not out of the picture, but, you know, you go to the next step down from that. Like a lot of the guys are in that league just because they do want to get their education paid for later on in life. And I mean, you can't fault them for that. I mean, you know, that's a great option there too. And the Maritime League, for the major league, you know, I think you can only carry 3 overagers. I think it is. I'm not
Yeah.
100% sure on the
Yeah.
exact number, but right. So I mean, you're getting a lot of those guys that are right on the bubble that are still good enough to play major junior, but, you know, are 20 years old and had to get cut, and they're coming down to play in the Junior A League. And I'm telling you, man, it's a really good league. I played with players from Scotland too, Russia, from Germany, played against players from there, like all over the States. So it was a pretty, you know, renowned league you know, when I played there, for sure.
Mm. Yeah, no. So just last little thing about Yarmouth there. I mean, you speak so highly on the organization. How to feel that you know, your last season you were you know, you were given the C there.
Yeah, I mean, I knew I had a chance because the year before I wore an A, but so did 3 other 19-year-olds. So I mean, we were all in the mix, I'm sure. But it's nothing I really thought of. You know, obviously it would have been great to do. Obviously, I mean, who don't, you know, you kind of want to be a leader on a team and, you know, show the town and your teammates and your friends back home that you know, you're leading the team and you're the captain of it, right? So I mean, I think it was late when they gave it to me. It wasn't right away. I mean, I think it was probably 2 or 3 weeks into the season. I think at first they said they were going to go with 4 A's at first, and then I was kind of like, you know, shocked that I thought it was just going to be that at that point anyway. I mean, you know, you'd like to have it at the end of the day. If we got 4 leaders, and, you know, let's just go with that. And and the players and, you know, billets and stuff like that, people that knew us really well. And they came to the realization to pick me, which is I was shocked and obviously so happy to be the leader up there for that my 20-year-old year. We ended up going to the conference finals, I think, that year. First went to playoffs since they won, I think, prior 4 years ago. So it was a good run, and I think we lost game 6. So I mean, we were right there on the bubble for the conference finals in the East. I think that would have been, yeah. So, but yeah, I got to say, like, you know, I think I was captain my last year of midget AA also, and then I think I was bantam and May, I think I wore a C also. So I've been the captain a few times, but not at that great stage of, in the junior A league.
Mm. Yeah, and your brother also got to join you for that last year too. How was that?
It was good. It's funny how it happened, actually. My brother was he got drafted by Bridgewater, I think it was, the year previous, and we were kind of looking for like a young young defenseman at that time that year, because we were pretty good. I mean, like I said, we got to the conference finals, but they were kind of looking even past that, and they heard about my brother throughout the Monktonian, I think it was, that tournament in Moncton, and I think they sent a scout to look at him there, and they liked what they seen, I guess, and we traded for him. And I didn't, and that was my second year. This was my last year, sorry. That was my 19-year-old year. So, yeah, they traded for him, I think, halfway through the year. And, yeah, he got to join us. We went up together on a plane, and we had our bags and parents, at the end of the driveway kind of thing. And we left and we were gone out for a year. And we ended up living together at our billet's house, me and my brother and another guy that I lived with the year before. So, I mean, it was some experience. I mean, me and my brother was anyway. We actually spent the same hockey team now, funny as it is. But yeah, we've been best buddies our whole life. We got different friend groups, but our friend groups usually crash a lot of the times too at parties and things like that. We meet up together downtown or whatever the case is. So yeah, we're really close. And I mean, it was obviously a really big experience to have your brother alongside you, especially my last year, and kind of like just not teach him now, but like to show him the kind of ropes of junior A. And back then there was fights every night, 2 or 3 fights a game, and so it was a little bit different coming from a midget league almost to a junior A league where he was playing with men at that point, in somewhat of a way. So but it was great. I mean, it was yeah, we traveled up and down the road together. I mean, we got up to go out and do a little bit of partying, not too much, obviously, the age limits and stuff. But I mean, it was an awesome experience. I loved it, honestly. It was probably one of the best experiences at the whole junior A level, honestly, throughout the whole thing.
No, that's awesome. So yeah, let's dive into the senior league, and I mean, it's had a bunch of different league names, throughout. I mean, I think right now the Caribous are back to like being in the East Central Senior Hockey League. I mean, I've always kind of just Central Western Senior Hockey League, CWSHL or whatever it may be. But I mean, you guys are basically every year playing for the herder, right? Like that's the best way to kind of sum it up. So I mean, a lot. It's one of the best kept secrets, but I mean, a lot of people also know about it from features that Hockey Canada has done and stuff like that, right? And one like really like I guess important message or a constant message that comes out about this league are, these are guys who are just loving the game and like are playing to play kind of thing, right? So I mean, every now and then, like I know at one point you guys were volunteer based players at a point, but then there was also some times where it was a couple $100 on the weekend and whatnot, whatever it may be. Yeah, like let's just go right back to 2011 when that all really, the senior league kind of journey all started for you.
Yeah, so I mean, I came home from junior A, so I mean, I wanted to play senior at that point. And like you said, when you're a Newfoundlander and you go away, or even if you don't, when you get to the senior level, you want to play senior hockey. I mean, that was like our NHL, as kids, and especially you from a small town. Like, you had the Caribous there for a long time. And when I was a kid, I remember my uncle playing, and he used to play with Torbay or Flat Rock, or, it's been here for, I don't know how many years exact, but, I mean, it's been here for a long time. Like you said, it's like the NHL for, like, Newfoundland. And I came home from junior A, and I thought, being away is going to be a foot in the door kind of thing, like walk on and get right in there. But I think the CBs drafted me, if I'm not mistaken. So I went to camp, and I made it from camp, and I made the opening night roster. I think I played the first 2 games, and it was against Clarenville, actually, funny enough. And I think they bet us, I'm going to say it was like 10-1, maybe, and the next game was probably 8-3. You had Sweetland and Rosie out there just dangling around, firing the puck from every angle. But, I mean, I think I got cut after that weekend, actually. The coach called me and told me to meet up with him just at a local Tim Hortons here in St. John's, and I went, and he's like, I got nothing, I want to keep you. You're young, even if you weren't playing every game, I still like to have you around for practice games, get you in every now and then when I can. But he's like, it's just not there right now. And so I actually went back and played in the Avalon East League, which is another senior league. It's almost like, senior B. I mean, if that's the easiest way to explain it to the viewers and stuff. So I went there and I ended up playing with my old minor hockey team, the St. John's Caps. So that was great. And I had a lot of best buddies on that team. So I ended up playing 2 years there, 2010, 2011. And we ended up winning the Avalon East League twice. So it was a great experience there. And like you said, it was almost, when I look back at it now, I think it was more beneficial for me to do that at the time. Because like I said, I was still really small, and the senior league here is men. Like, this is not a joke. Like, these guys they're good hockey players. A lot of them got a resume of pro, semi-pro, university, college, you name it. There's guys from all over and played all over in the senior league. And it's a great league. I mean, like, you hear a lot of people say it's like almost like a semi-professional league, which if you ever seen the brand of hockey, especially years ago, you could agree with me saying that. So, and then skip 2 years later, I really wanted to make a crack at the actual, go for the herder or the senior league. And I got drafted by Mount Pearl out of nowhere. I mean, I actually hated Mount Pearl for a long time when I played my minor hockey. They were always like, St. John's, Mount Pearl. We butted heads for a bit. So they drafted me. I went to camp. I made it out of camp. First week before game starting, coach called me on a Thursday night, I'm pretty sure, because I think the game started Friday. And he called me Thursday evening, and he said, we'd love to have you, the stuff people say when they call you to ship you off kind of thing. And they said, we traded you to Clarenville. And my initial, thought of that was, well, I'm going back to the Avalon East League because how good the Caribous were back then. Yeah. I mean, then you can just go through the names, and all of them played, pro or, university or whatever. So I ended up sneaking on the fourth line there, and about halfway through the season, there was a big injury. I forget who it was now. I think it was one of our imports at the time. And Ivan actually gave me a shot at the top line with Dale Sullivan and Andrew Sweetling. So I ended up doing where all three of us did really well on that line. And like you said, I mean, almost a pylon can go play with those two guys, and you'll still, get a couple of goals and assists, a night playing with those guys. But and I was fortunate enough to go on a great organization again. I mean, like you said, you brought it up there. There was like you said, a couple $100 going around every couple of weekends, and you had your equipment paid for, and your food after the games, before games, and your hotels room paid for, and your gas paid for. So that's all you really wanted. You're being 21, 22, you're still young, and you get to enjoy your weekends with your teammates too. You get your hockey, obviously, which you need to buckle down for the games and stuff. But I mean, after the games, it was okay to go out for a beer or, a bite to eat or whatever with the boys too. Just enjoy your weekend. Like you said, we're all in our 20s. We're still young. Most of us had full-time jobs or even, full-time, students and I think even my kids. So, I mean, the weekend was almost like an out for a lot of us, to get away for a weekend and, get your mind off either work or school or, the kids or whatever was going on in your life. So, yeah, and so luckily I was fortunate enough to stay on now, and I've been with Clarenville probably the last 6-7 years, I think. So
yeah,
it was pretty good, I gotta say.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah, no, it's incredible.
So yeah, I mean, it was unbelievable, I gotta say. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was basically just gonna say, like, you hit the nail on the head there, right? I mean, it's pretty easy to go through, the list of players in terms of like, the caliber in that league, right? I mean, even Terry Ryan was a big player in this, but getting like Aaron Asham to play in the league for a little bit, right? And he, I'm pretty sure he was quoted on saying with like, hey, like, I kind of thought I was going to show up here and it'd be easy, but it definitely wasn't the case, right? So I mean, guys like that, Terry himself was first rounder to Montreal, like 8th overall. I actually went higher than like Iginla in that draft too, right? Which is always crazy to think about, right? Like other guys too. You got national champions like Dustin Russell and Stuart McRae and whatnot with like their Santa Fe history is incredible, right? And I mean, I even remember for me like being a kid like in middle school, especially, you know, like you mentioned how good that Caribous team was, but like, man, like we did like pancake breakfasts, like around like Christmas time with the Caribous, like Dustin, I don't know why, but it's a stuffed football pig. It's a plush yellow, like bright yellow thing. And actually, when I was grabbing the suitcases out the other day, I came across it like literally last week, and sure enough, like I got, for some reason, I don't know what in the world 12-year-old me was thinking, but I got Dustin Russell to sign that pig. So I found that out the other day and had a little chuckle at it, right? But yeah, like those guys were local heroes, right? Like local legends. Church, Jason Churchill been manning that net for years and years and years, and that was a guy who had a fantastic Q career, and also the Sharks saw something in him and picked him up too,
Yeah.
right? Like and drafted him, right? So yeah, just the list goes on and on and on, right? And even guys who weren't even maybe the prolific, polished resume of like the nice schools and nice programs were still like fantastic hockey players and contributed in that league a lot, right? Like, I mean, I'm trying to think now. His name is slipping on me a little bit here, but there's um, I know. Yeah, no. I mean, it's just one defenseman who was basically like a real standout in the league, but never really had like I said, like that kind of like prolific resume that people like to see and amp up and whatnot. But yeah, lots of good memories in that league, lots of good times, and like it was incredible for me to just kind of get that opportunity with Eastlink. I mean, when I was setting that up to volunteer, like I was basically coming in to pack and unload boxes. And then Brian Daw, who was like the production manager, found out like what I wanted to do for a career and whatnot, and more or less be in front of the camera a little bit more. So he was just like, yeah, sure. Like, let's, you can host the show if you want. So I went from, thinking I was just going to, make a few connections, pack and unpack boxes to, yeah, all right, next week you can, you're hosting. So it's incredible, right? Like, cause
Yeah, no, we found it amazing, honestly. Like, we weren't expecting to see any kind of broadcast, and we knew it was like, it was on Eastlink, I think, every Saturday or whatever the case was, and I think that a lot of them were just, online on websites and stuff at that point. So it was cool to have you around. I mean, you got a lot of pictures for us. I mean, I'm pretty sure you sent me a couple of pictures to give my family for like, I think my nans, like my pops, I usually give them like a couple of hockey pictures or, stuff of me and my brother. So, I mean, I remember you helped me out with that. I'm pretty sure. Now that was probably, what was that, 5 or 6 years ago now? But,
yeah, I know. I look
right.
back
So,
on those photos, and it's like I've learned so much since then, right? So it's like, oh man, I really wish I could, stop by again and kind of do the same thing, but now with like the knowledge that I do have. But I have like one of the fondest memories I got was when I was doing because I was also, for people who don't know, like a freelance writer for the Packet, which also covers you guys, right? So I did like a feature story on yourself, your brother, and then the Reeds, right? Because I mean, you had four of
right.
them. You had four of them there in the stall all together. So your brother referred to it as a Mahoney sandwich. It was Rodney,
Yeah.
Kev, and Mason, and then and then yourself, right? So
Yeah.
I remember taking that picture in the locker room, right? Like the four, and your brother wanted to see it right quick, and he goes, "Sweet, got my parents a Christmas gift this year."
Yeah. 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 No, we usually do it to the grandparents, get a picture of us, or, or whatever the case is. But,
Mm.
yeah, because grandparents these days, especially Newfoundland ones, there's pictures, there's flants, like their
Yeah.
living room is honestly like hard to get into because there's so many like pictures from 1960, and then they got their grandchildren, which they cherish so much, and you always want to update the photo lineup in the living room, right, for your grandparents.
Yeah. No,
It's awesome.
I love it. You hit the nail on the head too, because I roll into like my grandparents' house, and it's just like it's a walk down memory lane, man. You're like, oh yeah,
Absolutely, yeah.
this happened, and like, I mean, even like you almost get to kind of see your parents and like how they grew up too, and it's just like, oh, so that this is what my mom looked like in high school and stuff like that, and this is what she
Right,
was
yeah.
doing,
Or
and
like, that's my uncle, that's my aunt. I didn't know, like, I didn't know these people, or where are they to? Where are they living?
yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. There's a lot of stories and memories behind all the pictures, when you go
Mm.
through them. That's for sure.
Yeah, no, man, it's always great to look back on, and hopefully, I mean, hopefully the senior league sees a little revive again sometime soon, and then the schedule lines up where I can stop by and just document it, and make sure that you guys get lots more photos too. But for
Yeah, no,
you,
we loved it, man. We loved you having around, and even like doing the interviews. You probably brought a lot of guys back from when they were in university and in major junior, where like they got the interviews done because we were in senior. I mean, usually all that stuff kind of gets off the table, and like you said, like serving pancake breakfast and stuff like that. I mean, I wasn't really expecting to do that with it, for the community, and we've done that before. We like the Santa Claus parade, and I think we went to a school a couple of times, and like you did the readings and stuff. And it's cool to see, the when you look to yourself in the mirror, you're like, oh God, just a senior hockey player over here. But like some of them kids, like you said earlier, when Dusty came in, he was almost like a local hero to you guys, and someone you really looked up to, and in a way, some of the kids look at you, and it's pretty cool to see that. But it's good, the town to support you, that you can way to them, like to do a little pancake breakfast for the kids, or do a Santa Claus parade and to give out, stuffed toys or whatever the case is. So it's really nice to give back also to, the community that gives you so much.
mm-hmm. And so one thing I want to kind of dive into now, because I mean, your journey in the senior league is pretty impressive, right? And you kind of mentioned earlier, just like that your first little taste of it didn't go too well. You end up getting caught, but then like you get drafted by Mount Pearl, and it's like, oh yeah, we're shipping you to the Caribous, and then you thought it was done again because it's like, oh, they got such a great roster. But then like I said, you crack that fourth line, you get that opportunity on the first line. Now you're kind of you're a familiar face in that locker room. And then 3 seasons go by, and a little stint with Cornerbrook as well, and like you're constantly like you're in the playoffs, you don't get the result that you want, but then like after all this 2016 2017 season, like you get to take home that herder for the first time. How did that finally feel, like that moment?
Oh man, it's like the Stanley Cup. Honestly, I mean, obviously it's not, but for Newfoundlanders that play for that league, for that trophy, and even the imports that we had coming in was pretty proud, been pretty historical trophy to say the least. So yeah, my first 3 years in the actual senior league, I made it to the finals twice with Clarenville and once with Cornerbrook, and we lost all 3 times to Grand Falls. So it was. It was a good moment to hold that trophy up over your head after all the years, because some years we were really close. I mean, I think we lost in Game 6 twice, and once was in overtime, and the other one I think we lost in Game 5. So, I mean, it's not like we were getting blown out or anything, but Grand Falls had a great team, a great roster, great organization there too. I mean, they deserved to win those, letters that year. And, that it goes back to, like, thinking, like, am I ever going to get this? Like, I'm getting so close. And like you say, I know I'm getting a lot older now, and you look back like, geez, you still want something that bad, like a hockey trophy, It's like, it's almost like when you're in grade 1, you want that, that gold medal in gym class for participating or something. But it's something that I always wanted, even as a kid, like, going to my uncle's games and be like, man, I want to win a herder one of these days. Like, it'd be really cool, to win a herder. And luckily, we did it as a group. And that group of guys we had together were together for essentially probably 6 or 7 years together, all of us, like there might have been a move here or there, or an import there or an import there or whatever. But we all stuck together, and as challenging as it was to lose in those finals, we all came back pretty hungry, a little bit more hungrier the next year. And like you said, it took us, I think, 4 years or 5 years to get it.
Well, correct me if I'm wrong, but was it the year before where it was like that in the finals there, it was the infamous puck under the net, or was that the year after?
No, that was the year before.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, so that was
to kind of have it.
That was when, like, we did that. That was like the matching thing, right? That was like the Avalon East paid against the senior league, I think it was, or whatever the case was that year.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously not the best memory or in terms of a hockey career, but I mean it's we'll chat about it a little bit just to kind of even play up that first championship for you, because I mean I remember watching the broadcast in like university, and I was like going nuts because like I seen it clear as day. I was like, there's no way that kind of went in. And then of course NTV was there, so you had like the replay that was like so vivid, so people see it and they react to it like you would, like the puck just slid on the backside of the net because the back post was up.
Yeah,
Like,
there's a lot of right. So yeah, so there's a lot of ups and downs going into that series against them. I mean, we just had a Game 7 overtime win against Grand Falls to win. The team that beat us for 3 years in a row, or four, it might have been even 4 years, honestly. I think they kicked us out to get in, or like the quarter or the semifinals before going to the finals the year before that. So 4 years in a row, I think they knocked us out. Like I said before, the games were pretty close for the most part. In the series were, battles. But then anyway, we win in Game 7. I think it was either Chad Earl or Mason Reed did it. They were both in front of the net. I don't know who did it, and I don't care who scored it. But anyway, we ended up winning. That's all that matters. So we ended up finally beating Grand Falls, and we ended up winning the Central Hockey League. So that year, we ended up having to play the winner of the Avalon East. And so I think that's the first year the CVs came back into the swing, I'm pretty sure. Correct me if I'm wrong there.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, I think so, because I think they took a couple of years off, whatever the case was. And so anyway, we go into this, this, and it happened the night after. Like, we won Game 7 on a Friday. We were on a bus going to Harbor Grace on a Saturday or on a Friday night into Saturday morning. And I mean, we just won Game 7 against a team we lost to 4 years. We had a couple of, beer on the bus or, whatever the case was. So now I'm not saying we weren't ready for Game 1. We're obviously there to win or hurt, and the thing wasn't over yet. But we were on a real big, high coming from that win in Grand Falls and coming to play a team in the Avalon East League, which we're not like a lot of the guys in the Avalon East League could easily play in the West League. That's not what you're saying. It's just when you look at both teams, you're probably going to give the slight edge to us for sure. You know what I mean? At the beginning of the series. So more power to, CVs and the way they came back and fought and ended up beating us essentially. And I mean, the way it's funny enough you brought this up. I was in Terranova last week. We do a golf tournament out there every year. Me and about 24 of my buddies. And Rob Slaney and Brett Shute and a couple of guys that played on CV's teams out there at the same time. So we ran into each other a couple of nights at the restaurant there after golf, and one of the boys brought it up one night, and I was like, no, we're not getting into this. Like, I already had enough nightmares about that puck going underneath the net. But yeah, it's that whole thing that went under the net. It was, I think the guy was circling around or whatever. He flicked it out in front for a pass, and it ended up from the bench. It looked like it hit Church's bottom of his goalie stick and went underneath him.
Yeah.
I don't know if it went in. At the bench, it kind of looked like that. Now, my brother was on the ice at the time, and he was, I'm sure you've seen the videos if you've seen the podcast, but he was pretty erratic at the time, and I think he flipped the net over and he put the stick underneath the net, and he was trying to show the ref as much as he could of what actually happened. And the ref at the time, he was pretty content and pretty stuck on what he's seen at the time, and he said 100% the puck went underneath Church's legs. It was automatic goal, a goal for sure. And like you said, like NTV and CBC was at this game, and like the normal pot or the broadcast that you were watching on the website. So there was lots of cameras in the building, and also in Clarenville, there's like an overhang like of the track on top of the net, so you could right like the walkway. So yeah. And like when you got like 2 or 3 rows, it was the final, so the place was packed. So, I mean, you got, like, people looking down almost like a camera in the NHL looking down over the net. And a lot of them seeing it, but, I mean, we're the home fans. Like, they're going to say it didn't go in it, so you can't really take their word for it. But, I mean, at the end of the day, you get cameras from upstairs that already looked at their replay and were like, this went underneath the net. So we didn't even, like, after the game, we sat in the room for a long time, a lot of us, and we were just waiting for, like, miraculously – someone bring the recording down to the rest and be like, look, it went underneath the net. Let's go back out there. Let's, start this game fresh or whatever and start it from the point. But, I mean, that was a huge thing, almost like nationwide. I remember it was on Sportsnet. It was on TSN.
Yeah, Bar Down picked it up, too, and was just
Bar Down, Bar
Down, I really remember Bar Down's article because the headline was, can you imagine losing a championship like this? Something like heavy like that. And I was like, oh, that hurts, right? But
right. I'm pretty sure Barstool even had it there for a little bit. And it got a lot of notoriety. And, I mean, it was the talk of, the province for more than a week. Like, this thing was – and I remember hearing, like, little things of oh, I think they're going to go back and, play from where that puck went in the net. Say it was a 16-minute mark or whatever it was. They'll start right from there and they're going to play the rest and blah, blah, blah. And then I was like, you get to the point, it's just like, it's done now. I mean, obviously it's not the way you want to lose. And essentially it's probably not the way you want to win, honestly, when you look back at it. But honestly, they gave us a great series. They were a good hockey team, man. And the players they picked up and the players that they already had meshed with AJ Whiffen in that. Arguably one of the best goalies in the league at the time. I mean, they had a great team, and like a lot of people, I think, overlooked them. And they ended up, and more power to them. I mean, and I tip my cap to them, and we all did. That was a great win by them, and they came back and they ended up deserving it at the end of the day, regardless if the puck went underneath the net. And but I lost sleep, man. I'm not even kidding. Like, I don't know, it sounds foolish, but I lost sleep for like 2 nights for that. I'm not even kidding. Like, just rolling around being like, I can't believe, like, when you're fighting for a herder for that long and even, like, wanting to win it for almost your entire life, since you were probably 8 or 9 years old, 10 years old. So you're thinking almost like, 15 to 16, 17 years wanting to win something. And it's right there in front of you, and someone just steals it from you, right? So it was a tough pill to swallow. But, I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, it's years, I don't know. It was probably, 3 years ago now? So
Yeah,
I'm taking it a lot easier.
We're going on 5 now, actually. Yeah. So.
Okay, well there you go. Yeah, I'm terrible with time. So I'm getting a lot better talking about it now. And like me and the boys said, I met Tyrone over there last weekend. We had a little bit of a laugh over it, And it's it's just, it is what it is now. I mean.
Well, no, I remember that team too. Like, you're talking about a bunch of good players too, and I remember a guy that I was pretty familiar with. I don't think I ever played with Lyndon because he was a couple years older than me, but Lyndon Gooby from Clarenville. I mean, he was fantastic, right? And I remember him playing really well in that series too. And like, yeah, I think kind of how I got over it. Just, I mean, obviously, like I wasn't with you guys that season, but just knowing all you guys, obviously, like rooting for you from away and stuff. And I think how I kind of just put it to bed was like, all right, you know what? Unfortunately, the league, like, they don't have like video replay, even if the cameras are there. So like that rule is not there. And you know what? Like, the guys, they put themselves in the situation in the CVs there, like they put themselves in the situation in Game 5, a tie game to, what, if they had a fortunate bounce, then that was the way it kind of hockey gods had it rolling out.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was trying to say. Like, I mean, it's not like they worked for what they got.
Yeah,
they deserve to be where they're due. I mean, I think it was 1-1 going in. It was because it was a best of 3, I'm pretty sure, or best of 5.
Best 5, yeah, best 5.
Yeah, we won Game 1, they won Game 2, and then next weekend, I'm pretty sure it was a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We won Friday night, so we were up. So we were like, Saturday night, we got to win it. Like, and if you win it on a Saturday night, you're gonna have a good time after the game. So I mean, we were really hoping to win that Saturday, and I think they won 1-0 that Saturday night, and I'm pretty sure it was on like a wraparound.
Yeah, it was.
I'm pretty sure Shane Boland scored it. Or a breakaway or something, but they ended up winning 1-0, and it was a pretty late goal. And so anyway, we just had to put our heads down for that Sunday game, and we gave it all we had. I mean, I think it was 2-2 when they scored that late goal in the third, the one that went under the net and kind of thing. And so it's not like they worked for everything they got, and they deserve to be where they were, and they deserve to win it, in my opinion. So.
Yeah, no, we'll go back into some sweeter times now, because I mean, after all that, like I said, like that first herder for you probably tasted pretty sweet, eh?
Yeah, I mean, it's a surreal moment. It's the best part about that whole winning the herder is, like I mentioned earlier, is like we did it with the same group that we lost once, we lost twice, we lost 3 times. We won, but then they took the herder away from us, and then we finally got our hands on it, which. And that was an easy series too, because I think Austin Grand Falls had to play off, and the winner won or played against Gander, and Gander finished first that year. So we were kind of like the underdogs going into that mini series there, and we ended up winning and beating Gander, and then we had to play another Avalon East team, like the exact same thing as the year before. So this year, we approached it, a bit of the same way, and luckily we ended up on top this time.
And so I mean, it took you that long to get the first one, but then the second one was pretty quick. How did it feel kind of going back to back there?
We never won the herder back to back.
No, yeah, okay, sorry, never mind then. Yeah, no, I got that. I got that mixed up. I'm not that good
Geez,
with names.
you had me confused then.
Yeah, yeah. No, okay, never
No,
mind.
I had to think there. No, because back to back would have been, yeah,
Yeah, 17, 18 or whatnot, maybe. Yeah, sometimes it's hard to keep everything aligned,
yeah, it
right?
would have been 18. This year would be 1920.
Yeah, yeah, okay, fair enough.
Oh God, yeah, man. I had to think when you said that. I was like, did we win too? Yeah, I kind of
Yeah,
lost
no,
it there too for
that's
a
my
second.
bad. Yeah, honestly, it's funny sometimes. I'm trying to think of like certain things, and like sometimes like I remember like when I'm there in the building so much, like I like all those are just like vivid. Like from what I was saying with like Rodney making that comment of like the Mahoney sandwich. Like I remember those things
Yeah,
so much, and then like trying to recall things when I'm like away doing I guess like doing my own thing and stuff like that because you're always kind of like periodically checking in. It's definitely a
yeah.
lot harder.
Well, yeah, man, you're a busy dude,
No, I like how I had you
right?
confused though. You're like, wait, hold on.
Yeah, I was like, what the heck? Did we win that the other year too? Yeah.
Oh no, man, that's
No,
all.
I mean, I don't. What even happened? Was it last year? Because it was a COVID thing. It wasn't last, or did
Yeah,
we?
last season would have been cut
Like we
short.
won. Hold on, let me see when we won this. I got my ring here. When did we win this thing? Yeah, okay, 2018 we won it.
Yeah,
So I guess 2019. I don't know what happened that year.
yeah,
Jeez, I don't know, man. You got me confused here
yeah. No, I'm
now.
lost. Let's see the ring. Uh
Yeah, there's
yes, spy. Man,
yeah,
that's
it's a pretty good one,
say
man.
I've seen. I think I've seen one of them before, and I mean, uh, sorry for the people who are listening to this audio, but I mean the YouTube version where with the video, they can go and see that on YouTube if they want to check the ring out. But it's a nice ring, eh? Especially for
Oh man, yeah.
beautiful.
Ryan Delaney actually did the whole design on him. I think on this side's obviously like your number and name. That's just like that's pretty typical for a
Yeah.
championship. But on this side, he did something pretty unique. It was actually like how we did in the finals and how we got there. So it says like Cataracts 4-1, Flyers 4-1, and Caps 4-0.
Mm,
So it kind of it went right through the series we actually did to get to win her. So we at first I wasn't sure. I thought about it. Then I was like, you know what? I was talking to my old man about it, and he said, why wouldn't you like that? He said, in a couple, 5 or 10, 20 years, you're not going to remember who you played and who, what the series records were, or how you won, blah, blah, blah. So, unfortunately, it's awesome. And like we just had, that little mishap at the end. It's good to have that stuff. Now we can actually figure out where we're to here.
yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, you're seeing that trend a little bit more too, because actually it's funny enough, Kansas City, the Chiefs got their Super Bowl rings last night, and you can see on the inside they have their whole playoff run outlined and stuff like that.
Right. And I love that, man. Now it's just something you can just go back to. And I don't wear my ring. I have it like on my dresser there and stuff like that. And I have it open and stuff just to look at it. And I see it every day, but I don't really touch it much and stuff like that. But it's a great piece to see, like, going through that whole playoffs and seeing what was the record or, what was the series is that and who'd you play? I mean, who were the guys on the team that year? So it just brings you back to memory lane a little bit and who you played against and who you played with.
No, 100%. You gotta love it. And man, Kenny, honestly, this is everything that I got for you. So this is the part of the podcast actually where I just hand the show over to you. So show's yours now. You can chat about whatever you want. Life story, life lesson, anything. Yeah, really anything you want. Childhood story, funny moment, funny memory, good memories. Yeah, whatever. Show's yours, bud.
Yeah, I don't know. There's not much stories going around lately with all this COVID stuff going on. I tell you that. But no, I mean, I'm just trying to enjoy summer, man. I mean, it's this year's been challenging, I think, for a lot of people. I mean, I can speak for myself. I mean, especially in Newfoundland. I mean, we had the brand new year, which everyone's always looking forward to. I mean, everyone gets their goals and their their New Year's resolutions and stuff like that. But I mean, Newfoundland, I think early February, we were all stuck in the house and couldn't move, and had to deal with Snowmageddon. And then we had a couple of months there that was okay. And then we get this, COVID coronavirus going in throughout the world right now. So I mean, like, I'm sure a lot of people are, doing really tough with that. And, hopefully, you can find a way just to, stay busy and stuff like that. It's not going to last forever, honestly. I mean, none of these things do. It's just, we're on a long path right now. And I don't think there's any, unfortunately, it's just still a long ways away to getting fixed right now. But for myself, I'm just trying to stay busy. I'm working right now. I'm working as a child and youth care worker with addiction support. So, I mean, I get to see a lot of stuff, a lot of mental illness, and a lot of stuff, especially through these hard times, even with kids. And I know adults are going through it, and work's different. You can't see your family and friends when you want. And even when you go to buy a bag of chips at the store, you got to wear a face mask and, hand sanitize your hands, and you don't know who you're talking to, and you can't shake hands like, you used to. So I'm just trying to stay busy, man. I've been having a good summer. I did a lot of golfing. I mean, do you golf at all?
A little bit. Like I'm not the best. I've hit like one birdie in my life, and everything else has been like quadruple, five,
Yeah.
bogeys and everything. Like, yeah, it's rough.
Yeah. No, because I've been out of your way a couple of times this year, man. Like the
Yeah,
Newfoundland courses, like, and there's a positive to all this, like being in Newfoundland. I mean, if there is a positive to take anything away from this Corona stuff is having to stay home in Newfoundland. I mean, as a townie, the townie word, the
yeah,
St. John, being from St. John's, you don't go around the bay often. You don't go out west to Gross Morin or Terra Nova often. Well, I never. I always just went on vacation either down to the States or wherever I was going. And that was my vacation for the year, or I would used to go on too. So it was good. I went to Gross Morin and Terra Nova this year. It was unbelievable out there. Like I remember I told my friends when we were driving out, I was looking at all the mountains and stuff. And I've been out that way in the winter when it's, snow covered, run down kind of thing. But in the summer, that place is like a new planet. Like you hit like a certain area. I think it's just after Deer Lake, and you're just like, I didn't know this was Newfoundland. Like if someone had taken a picture of this, I would have guessed like, the Appalachian Mountains over, wherever. But yeah, it's unbelievable, man. Just to get out and I was enjoying a lot of golf, and luckily in Newfoundland this year, believe it or not, knock on wood, we've been having like a really good summer. The weather has been, unbelievable
hmm
compared to like most summers we have. And I'm sure you know our summers.
Oh, I know. Yeah, no, it was definitely because when everything kind of shut down for me, like I was in Halifax actually with the University of Ottawa men's hockey team. We were gearing up for what we thought was going to be a national championship weekend, but didn't end up being that. And then a few events started to get canceled. I was supposed to be kind of panel that ended up getting canceled, so it was kind of like, all right, where's the best place to be during a pandemic, right? And it's on an island, home, which is home for me, right? So yeah, no, and throughout my time home, it was great, right? Like, I mean, our cases stayed like pretty good, and once the summer months kind of rolled around, so you got to, really explore, special parts of Newfoundland, right? Which I think a lot of people, definitely the locals, we take for granted because we just kind of get in the swing of things, and we don't really explore as much as probably think we should, and it's great that we have a little silver lining when where
No,
people
absolutely.
kind
I
of
mean,
we can visit and whatnot.
yeah, you're just breaking up a little bit.
Yeah, our connection's been a little bit rough. I know. I've been hotspotting this whole video call because the Wi-Fi went out this morning. So let's hope the data don't run
Oh,
out.
okay, gotcha. Yeah, no. I did hear a little bit of it though, but yeah, no, it's good for newfies and like a lot of us just to get out and to experience and like it's a typical explorer Newfoundland,
Mm,
and to get around. And I remember I started hiking pretty good there probably maybe 5 or 6 years ago, just around the East Coast Trail. Nothing serious. I mean, I'm definitely no experienced hiker by no means, but I get up and I go do them or whatever. But just the landscape and just like the ocean side, mountains and rocks, and like a lot of like the ports, even like down by like the Gut and Kitty Vitty, and even
mm-hmm.
like our harbor and down by Fort Amherst and stuff like that. It's stuff that like I know was there. I just never ever went down to take the time to actually go down and appreciate it. And like recently, like with all this stuff going on, especially like just before summer, like that or certain, that fall we usually have. That's usually like a winter. You still get out and go out for a little bit and just enjoy a little bit of that. And like I said, I went to Gross Morin with Terranova a couple of times. I was out at the Wilds a couple of times golfing and just going around and exploring Newfoundland that I never really did. And because the exploring I ever did was to go to a hockey rink and, right back to the hotel or you go out to the restaurant or whatever. But then it was kind of like you were just out there to play hockey and you couldn't really go enjoy yourself or go for a hike or go on one of the trails or whatever the case may be, right? You didn't really get the time to go to a brewery or, you know, a pub or a coffee shop that's really local in some of these small towns that you just never really got to experience before. So I got to do that, join this, and hopefully, you know, this whole COVID and stuff goes away sooner than later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, 100%. And hopefully when it does, I mean, a lot of people can, from away can get to experience the province that, you know, we're very fortunate enough to call home, right? Like I said, it's a special spot. And yeah, I think this is a good spot to leave it off, man. Kenny, thanks so much for joining me, man. It was nice catching up. It was nice walking down memory lane with you too.
Yeah, no, for sure. Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, okay. And yeah, no. So for everybody listening, thanks so much, you know, for kind of hearing this whole journey with us. If you like the podcast, hey, you know, share with a friend. And in the meantime, stay best kind.